Yo, 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 yo. What up, everybody? That's right, here, boy. Back in the building. It's that boy, Lamont Deadway Jones. Back in the building. And with that being said, I just wanted to thank everybody who decided to stop and rock with that boy they call Lamont Deadway Jones this way. You dig? With that being said, topic of discussion is, as you can see, one of the most mystical places on earth, called the Georgia Guidestones. And I'm about to break it down on what these guidestones were actually put there for. I mean, there's a lot of people that already know about these type of things, but there's a lot of people that don't. And that's why I'm here doing this educational video to clarify my theories and beliefs on what we call today the Georgia Guidestones. And I'm also going to let you guys know how I finally figured out from doing recent research how the Georgia Guidestones is very well connected to some of the pillars that's outside of the Denver airport. And I'm going to get into that shortly as I break that down for you guys as well. Now, the story of the Georgia Guidestones began on a Friday afternoon in June 1979 when an elegant gray-haired gentleman showed up in Elbert County, made his way into the offices of Elberton Granite Finishing Company and introduced himself as Robert C. Christian. Remember that, this guy who, had these giant, huge stone granite pillars put here, that was his name. Yeah, and he just happened to have been a very, very wealthy man too. Also, yeah, he was Mr. Christian, was a very wealthy man. But anyway, with that being said, I'm about to let some of you guys know the real reason why Mr. Robert C. Christian put these Georgia Guidestones there for. From my research, the Georgia Guidestones is an American Stonehenge monumental with instructions on it for the post-apocalypse, okay? But see, they, are trying to say that inscribed on the granite is directions for rebuilding civilization after the apocalypse. You know what I'm saying? And but they're saying that, but in reality, that plays a huge part in depopulation, something that has been going on for many, many, many centuries. Believe me when I tell you guys, decades, centuries, whatever you want to call it, okay? And I'm gonna break that down and explain to you why I have that theory, okay? And anyway, they say only one man knows who created them, and they say he's not talking. And his name is Dan Winters, okay? But anyway, it is one of the strangest monuments in America, and it's located in northeastern Georgia. It's 5 massive slabs, man. Get this, it's 5 massive slabs of polished granite, okay? It is said that the Georgia Guidestones may be the most, enigmatic monument in the U.S. history, like with the huge slabs of granite, you know what I'm saying? And these things are pretty big, man. It's like 5 massive slabs of polished granite that rises out of the earth in a star pattern. The rocks are each 16 feet tall, with 4 of them weighing more than 20 tons apiece. Together, they support a 25,000-pound capstone. Man, can you believe that? They're comparing this huge, huge stone monument to England's Stonehenge, and yeah. And it was from 2001, what they say, Space Odyssey, built in 1980. you know, and like they say, the two things that these huge, you know what I'm saying, stone, you know, pillars have is what they have in common in my eyes is these rocks are quietly awaiting the end of the world as we know it. Now, nobody knows exactly who commissioned it or why. The only clues to its origin are on a nearby plaque on the ground, which gives the dimensions and explains a series, you know, of notches and holes that pretty much corresponds to the movements of the sun and the stars and the gods themselves, you know, directives carved into the rocks. You know, these instructions appear in 8 languages, ranging from English to Swahili, and reflect a peculiar New Age ideology. Some are vaguely, you know, and get this now, pay close attention, in eugenic, and I'm gonna get off into that. And remember what I just said, in eugenic. That's why you see the eugenics, you know, pictures. I'm telling you, because it all boils down to eugenics, which is also something that they have been doing forever, but they've been trying their best to hide it, but it's recently just starting to slip out, even though I've been knew about eugenics, but I'm also going to break that down, you know, as we go, you know, throughout this video as well. You dig? So y'all just try to follow me, stay with me on this, because I'm about to enlighten you guys on some of these things that I know a lot of my people are not, you know, or should I say don't even have a clue about, okay? Now, when it comes to the ideology of the Georgia Guidestones, believe me when I tell you guys, because I'm one of them, not everyone is comfortable with this notion. You know, believe me, they're not, because if you really think about it, you know, that's why you have some of the vandalism that you see, because, you know, like slogans like death to the New World Order, you know, all that type of stuff, you know. But that was also one of the first, you know, defacements, you know. Well, or should I say this defacement was one of the first serious acts of vandalism in the Guidestones history, but, you know, it was hardly the first objection to their existence, you know. So, yeah, not everyone is comfortable, you know, with these, you know, notions that they claim these Guidestones are really put there for, because, you know, you have a lot of people that feel like, you know, that a lot of people have attacked these commandments on the Georgia Guidestones as being the 10 commandments of the Antichrist, and everybody knows the Antichrist is the devil, of course. You dig? So, but yeah, you know, and that's exactly what it is. In my book, you know, that's exactly what it is, because if you pay attention to these 10 commandments on the Georgia Guidestones, think about this, guys. You might as well be through, and of course it's the 10 Commandments of the Antichrist, because like I said, if you pay attention to those commandments on the Georgia Guidestones, so you might as well be throwing the original 10 Commandments of the Most High that's, you know, in the Bible, you know, right out of the damn window. Okay? I mean, think about that. Because, see, let me explain something to you guys. See, when it comes to the upper class people, and the reason I'm mentioning the upper class people first is this. The reason I mention the upper class people first, because, I mean, think about it. I mean, they're the ones who are mainly behind this agenda that we're talking about right now. Because if you really think about it, a middle class, a lower class person, they wouldn't even have the time to think about, you know, even, you know, trying to execute these type of sinister plans to try to, you know, control the world and play the Most High Creator, as we all know as God, okay? Because when it comes to the upper class citizens, I'm going to tell you how most of these, you know, higher class citizens think, okay? when it comes to the middle class, family, they look at middle class families as being that family with potential, the family that has potential, because they know at some point that middle class family was a lower class family. If you following me on this, okay? And that's why I say, if you really think about it, that's why the middle class families plays a huge role in the lower class families' existence. Because if you really think about it, the reason I'm saying this, because their plans to try to depopulate the earth, which they've been pretty much, secretly doing for ages. See, when it comes, it all boils down to those plans. If you following what I'm saying, because when it comes to trying to depopulate the earth, believe me, when they do actually try to carry these plans all the way out, I can guarantee you that they're going to start with the lower class citizens first, because that's why I say that's the only reason why that's the main reason why I believe the middle class families plays a huge role in the lower class family's existence. You know what I'm saying? Because they really don't even want people like lower class citizens to even exist. Excuse me. That's where the eugenics laws that they've been, pretty much experiencing with and tampering with people, like I said, pretty much for a very long period of time. But they've been they like, notice you've never heard of a eugenics laboratory. You know why? Because they've hidden it for so long. Because they don't want people to know how they are tampering, with people's reproductive organs, okay? In other words, eugenics is a practice that they've been doing on people that they feel like shouldn't even exist on the earth. That feels like that they're by them being poor or born into poverty, period, that they're stupid, with what they used to call imbeciles and all that type of stuff back in the day. And they're gonna break all this down. Yeah, the practices of eugenics pretty much consisted of them sterilizing people so they couldn't reproduce. In other words, sterilizing the people that they didn't think was worthy of existing. Okay? Now pay close attention.
I recently decided to take a tour of Cold Springs Harbor Laboratory, which was the American seat of eugenics for pretty much the first half of the 20th century.
And then it also has a certain amount of CO2 in there, pressure, all these things that the cells are used to from inside your body, such that they keep growing even though they're no longer in the body.
They didn't tell us anything throughout the entire tour that had anything to do with that history whatsoever, and they especially wouldn't tell us where the eugenics record office actually was located, so we had to go find it for ourselves. That's it. This house used to be the eugenics records office. It is now a private residence, and it was really, really hard to find, and we're probably not even supposed to be sitting in this person's driveway filming it right now, but the fact that it's so hidden and they won't even tell you where it was located, it takes forever to find it back in the woods, tells you a lot about how much they want this place to be forgotten. When we finally found it tucked away in the woods, up the road from the actual Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory, we realized that there's actually no information about the actual address of the house itself, tying the location to the fact that it was the eugenics records office for 30 years.
This is it. Eugenics records office.
And the only thing we could actually find is this one article here, which is only 3 paragraphs long. Actually more like 3 sentences, 4 sentences long, and the first one is basically completely misleading, and it just really doesn't tell you anything from there. The house itself is actually up for sale again, and it even includes a nice video. Unfortunately, it leaves out just a few details, so we thought we'd make our own video. Be a true part of the 0.001% with this gorgeous, historic, stately Georgian colonial mansion. which literally encapsulated the elite mentality of exterminating the impoverished and genetically inferior from the time it was built in 1913 until at least 1940, otherwise known as the Eugenics Record Office.
Connect with the countless hours spent promoting and scientifically justifying racist attitudes and an invisible caste system against, quote, defectives, ideas that were later exported straight to Nazi Germany.
Live in the same elegant home featured in this 1927 eugenics brochure about improving the, quote, qualities of the human family.
Stand on the very same Victorian rotunda porch where the founder and director of the Eugenics Record Office, Charles Davenport, and Harry H. Laughlin stood, chatting about lobbying for legislation to forcibly sterilize the weak and unfit.
Take your brunch in the same lavish dining room where eugenics workers pored over countless reports and data they pooled from insane asylums, prisons, orphanages, and homes for the blind to create pedigree files of families thought to be unfit burdens on the rest of proper society, including minorities, the poor, the, quote, feeble-minded, and more.
Enjoy the original eugenics greenhouse in your very own backyard. Perhaps a vague but tangible symbol of the genetically modified crops the poor are silently forced to eat daily, all while within an arm's reach of Cold Spring Harbor's crop research facilities. By contrast, your drive, bordered by rock walls, is just minutes from an all-organic grocery store in the Cold Springs Harbor, where you can enjoy fresh-caught seafood and snotty wine on a yacht.
Come home to the same carefully manicured front lawn where the Eugenics Record Office field worker training class of 1916 had its official picture taken.
Meanwhile, this true blue blood property, built and donated specifically to create the Eugenics Records Office by Mary Harriman, mother of the Skull and Bones diplomat Avril Harriman, boasts some of the area's largest tulip trees and is the very grounds where for most of the first half of the 20th century, scientists slaved away at instituting racism and class segregation of, quote, degenerates under the banner of science in America and abroad.
And this elegant residence is also so private, you'd never know it was a large part of the Cold Springs Harbor Laboratory for decades leading into World War II. Thanks to teams of day laborers, post-war whitewashed history will also coat the walls and line this picturesque, stately 2-acre property. And don't worry, it won't be mentioned on the laboratory tour. 1682 Laurel Hollow Road won't show up in any internet searches for eugenics, but it just could be your little elitist piece of scientific dictatorship paradise.
But it could be your little elitist piece of scientific dictatorship paradise.
Inquire today. On a side note, you guys, it's very creepy how they've hidden this place. They've basically whitewashed it from their history. They won't really tell you where it's even located because they're like, well, it's a private residence, even though this building is directly involved in lobbying and pushing for and justifying the sterilization laws that would affect tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of Americans throughout most of the 20th century who were forcibly sterilized in their respective states. It's because of that Eugenics Record Office. So it affects every person, but they won't tell you where it is. And the fact that they're selling it and they're not even mentioning in the sale, oh, by the way, this place has a heavy affiliation with eugenics or Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory, or really just any information about it all. It's pretty horrible whitewashing of history, if you ask us.
Wow. Now, see, with all that being said, I'm going to refresh your guys' memory on some of the things that I clarified earlier, which is, whenever it comes to eugenics, this is something that's pretty much been going on, like I said, for quite some time. So, to me, all that being said, eugenics pretty much boils down to the upper class citizens, how they think. And what I mean by that is, eugenics pretty much boils down to this. When it comes to the upper class citizens, anybody that they feel like was pretty much born into poverty, and those were the type of people that the upper class citizens felt like shouldn't even exist because of, you know, how low they looked at these people. In other words, if they felt like if you didn't have as much, let's say, or you wasn't as financially stable as they were, you didn't deserve to live. They, in other words, they felt like you was that type of person, they were going to sterilize your ass, okay? Yeah, they were pretty much gonna fix you where you cannot reproduce, okay? You know, yeah, straight up, yeah. See, they're playing God because they feel like, hey, we're gonna secretly sterilize these type of people, you know. And that's why you have some people in this world that cannot reproduce because they were pretty much fixed, you know, either at birth or some point of their childhood, which also had a lot to do, you know, with a lot of these vaccines that they've been using over, you know, time as well. If you really think about it, and they mainly aimed these type of practices at, lower class black citizens, as I'm sure most of you already knew. But don't get me wrong now, don't get it twisted now. They also did this, when it came to lower class white families as well. They just didn't. I'm just put it like this: they just did more black lower class families than they did the white lower class families, which shouldn't have been a secret, to anybody either. And I'm not being racist while I'm giving these facts. I'm just spitting facts, okay? So let's not get that part twisted either, because I've never been racist. Right now, I'm just spitting facts, okay? That's just how it was, man. And with that being said, you guys, that's another reason why they do, things like audits and census surveys, and all that type of stuff, and when they do these type of things, notice they only go to mostly the lower class black neighborhoods, okay? Because and I'm telling you the real reason why they do that type of stuff, because they, even though it's not going to give them an exact number, but it will give them, some type of, what I'm saying, idea, if you will, on how many of these people exist. So that way, when it comes to these people, or these type of people, they feel like don't deserve, to reproduce, because they're trying to, take out, as many of these people as they can from not existing. In other words, control the lower class citizens population, okay? So if you're a lower class, remember, I mean, in the lower class bracket, I'm gonna just say this: do whatever you can to get out of that situation. I'm telling you, because these are the type of people that they're gonna start with, that they're already pretty much been aiming at for ages. But these are the people that they're really going to start with when they actually decide to speed up the process of them doing this, which is also leads me back to what I was saying. That's why they do things like audits and census bureau surveys and all that type of shit, because that way, in case they'll have an idea of how many lower class citizens it really exists. That way, like I said, if they decide to reproduce or have a child together, they're gonna make sure that while that mother is going back and forth to the doctor, make sure the baby's healthy, getting her shots and ultrasounds and all that. Believe me, they're going to fix that baby before it is even born. Okay, I can guarantee you guys this. Even though since you don't have to believe me. Okay, who am I to get you guys or tell you guys what to believe? I'm just spitting my theories on that I have that I gather from the research that I've done on these type of topics, okay? So with that being said, if you really think about it, these people, who consider themselves to be the higher ups are really actually about to try and play God at some point or sometime in the nearby future. So with that being said, to all you guys who belong or affiliated in any type of gang, I'm just gonna leave you guys with some insight, okay? Think about it. If you really, because when it really comes down to what these people have planned, when it comes down to these eugenic practices they've been doing on the majority, you know, of lower class black citizens, okay, regardless of your damn gang status. Because think about this. While y'all beefing out here, continuing to kill each other over this, bullshit gang beef or whatever you guys are having, sooner or later your asses are gonna have to wise up and think about your future. Because like I said, man, regardless of your damn gang status, because if they decide to execute their plans a little more sooner than they, really, want to, or let's think about this. I'm just gonna say this. Because if that happens, either, y'all are gonna fucking ride together or y'all are gonna die together. It's just that simple. In other words, you're gonna have to come together eventually, okay? Because everybody knows the more massive you are, the more power that you have. That's just the same, when it comes to knowledge. The more knowledge you have, the more power you have. That's why, if you note in a lot of my videos, that's why I've always said, to me, knowledge is, is worth more than any amount of money, that money can buy. And I really meant that, because you gotta have knowledge in order to be able to make money, okay? Think about what I'm saying. But anyway, with that being said, now I'm going to get back to what I was telling you guys when it came to the connection that the Georgia Guidestones and the pillars that sit outside the Denver airport have in common. And I'm going to tell you how they are both connected, okay? Now, before I get into this, for those who I feel like didn't really comprehend, to how the Georgia Guidestones are connected to eugenics, if you really pay attention, some of the commandments on the Georgia Guidestones pretty much equals up to eugenics. Because if you think about it, eugenics has everything to do with depopulation, because they know if they sterilize the people that they consider is not worthy enough, to be in today's society, there's no better and faster way that they can do it, than when it comes to sterilization. Because they know if they keep sterilizing these type of people, sooner or later they're going to cut them short of their existence, okay? In other words, like I said, these people are pretty much, trying to play the Most High, who we all know as God. And they know that that is complete blasphemy when they do stuff like that, which is why these people have went to extreme lengths, okay, to keep these type of things when it comes to eugenic studies, under the covers, if or whatever you want to call it, okay? Think about that. And with that being said, you got to think about it, who do these people think they are to be able to decide, or control who lives or dies? If you really think about it, man, that's pretty creepy, okay? And immoral, if you really think about it. I mean, in my eyes, anyway, okay? Now, with all that being said, you got to think now, if you actually plan on massacring that many people until you get all the way down to 500 million people, man, damn, you got a lot of killing to do, okay? Because with that being said, think about it. You're going to be committing one of the biggest, sins of the 10 Commandments, which is thou shalt not kill. You did? Think about this. Which also goes to show you, if they're willing to do that, commit that thou shalt not kill commandment, these people could care less about their fate, okay? whenever it comes time for them to meet their maker, okay? They don't give a damn. Because these are the type of people that think just because they're super rich that they're going to be able to live forever. And these are also the type of people who are afraid to meet their fate, too. I guarantee you, I promise you this. Whenever that time finally comes to finally meet their maker, the Most High. God, okay? Because when you really think about it, you're only going to be able to fight the Creator only for so long, okay? Yeah, because if you really think about it, it's kind of funny because you got to ask yourself, how in the hell, do these, people actually think that they're going to be able to outsmart the Heavenly Father, divine creator of all? I mean, you really got to think about that, okay? In other words, how are you going to be able to outsmart this super divine spiritual power that actually created you? Okay? Think about that. I mean, because you really think about it, that's going to be impossible. Because if he was smart enough to create you, means there's no way on earth that you're going to be able to outsmart something like that. Okay? I don't give a damn what nobody else says. So while these people keep tampering with nature, which is what the divine creator of all created as well. That's the reason I say, or a lot of people say, I mean, that's why you have a lot of people, which I'm one of them, that calls him the Heavenly Father Most High, because he created you. In other words, that makes him, or that actually makes you a child of God, or whatever you decide to call the Most High. Okay? Think about that. So when you try to outsmart something like that, that's just like, I'm going to explain the theory why they call, us the children of God. It's because, think about this, that's just like, okay, Family Guy, perfect example. Remember the baby used to be on there, what's his name, Stewie. Remember how he was able to always outsmart his parents, and that's only on the cartoon, because in the real world, there's no way, that a little baby is going to be able to outsmart the people that made him, which was Lois and Peter. You understand where I'm going with this? Same with us. That's why it's going to be impossible to outsmart the Heavenly Father, because he created us. So for these people, in order for these people to keep doing that, I'm highly baffled by it. Like, because what they're doing is pretty much going to be impossible. You understand? Think about what I'm saying, people. So don't forget, to most of my black people, while you guys are out there, steady killing each other over dumb shit, man. You need to stop making these people jobs easier. Because I already didn't explain to you guys how they've been trying to depopulate and get rid of your ass. Because they look at the lower class as the weak. Okay? As well as many other things that I've already explained. So, with that being said, guys, wake up. Think about it. There should be, the George Zimmerman case and many more cases should have been a wake-up call. In other words, you see how easy that they go on people? And when they and the brothers that continue to want to take each other out, from how they would really go if it was a person of another race. That's the reason I say, you guys gotta wise up, gotta get smart at some point. Stop doing their damn job for them, okay? Think about what I'm saying. Because the more you guys continue to take each other out, guess what? You're feeding more and more into their eugenics / genocidal plans that they've been, pretty much secretly doing for ages now. But now they're really about to unleash, it even more, to a point to where they're pretty much just flat out tired of waiting It's going to get to that point to where these people and almost got to that point to where they are actually tired of waiting, you know, and are ready to do it in a more quicker, massive way than the eugenics thing, okay? So with that being said, people, wake up to this, because it all boils down to eugenics when it comes to the Georgia Guidestones and those stone pillars that are outside of the Denver airport. Now I'm about to clarify that before I end this video, as I told you guys that I would, okay? Think about this, okay? If you ever been or seen how the Denver airport is set up, man, they got a bunch of these, you know, should I say, they got a bunch of creepy ass artwork in this place. What I would call apocalyptic art, if you will. Because if you really think about it, these huge pillars known as the Georgia Guidestones have been up so long. Also lets me know that they don't plan on taking them down anytime soon, okay? Now back to what I was saying about how the Denver airport, the pillars outside of the Denver airport, and just the apocalyptic artwork period is in connection with the Georgia Guidestones. Because when I first seen all this type of art in the Denver airport, it's one of the creepiest fucking places on earth. Okay? Yeah, if you see what I'm talking about, you'll see why I think that the Denver airport is most definitely, without a doubt, one of the most creepiest places on earth, okay? Because if you really pay attention to all this apocalyptic art that they got on these walls of this airport, it's really pretty creepy and frightening. Because whenever you go outside of this place, pay close attention to some of the pillars that they have outside. Like I said, when you go outside, you pay close attention. They have some huge flat pillars outside of this place, and they also have a few big pillars that are huge too. I mean, they're not as huge as the giant pillars that, like at the Georgia Guidestones, but they're big enough to where you can't mess them once you know, go outside of that place, okay? And when you look close at these pillars, they're showing you the names of certain, you know, people who belong to a lot of these elitist groups, you know, that's actually, you know, behind, you know, this whole eugenics, you know, agenda, you know, when it comes to, you know, the special, you know, people's names and information that they have wrote and carved into these stones, and a lot of whom, you know, belong to a lot of these, you know, Masonic temples. And if you read closely to some more information on these pillars outside of Denver, the Denver airport, they're pretty much, you know, subliminally telling you, you know, about pretty much the same, you know, things, rules, and regulations that the Georgia Guidestones tell you as well. And that's how I know for a fact that these, you know, two stone structures, even though they're far away, are in connection. You did? You following me now on this? So, with that being said, that's how I figured out that the Georgia Guidestones pretty much equals eugenics. You understand? Because if you paid attention to that eugenics video I just showed, I'm sure you would, you know, completely agree. I mean, who, like I say, who am I to tell you what to believe? I don't have to tell you nothing. I'm showing it to you right here on this video. I mean, it's right there. You understand? Right there in your damn face, okay? All you gotta do is figure it out, put two and two together, like I just explained it to you. You don't have to now. If you took the time out to watch this video, you didn't even have to do a whole lot of extra thinking. You did? Like I said, once again, the proof is right there. So it's not like I'm blowing a bunch of smoke up your ass, okay? Because it's right there, carved in these stones, for who knows, God, only God knows how long these structures could have been up, even though they say that Georgia Guidestones has only been up since 1979, but it still have to make you wonder. Now, with that being said, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say something that I know a lot of, gang affiliated people are not going to want to hear. Okay? But guess what? I'm going to give the ones that don't want to hear this some food for thought. Okay? And I guarantee you when I say this that you will probably remember or think about this probably for the rest of your days. I can almost promise you. And what I'm gonna say is this. Because when you really think about it, when it really comes down to it, regardless of your gang status, and I'm telling you how these people are actually gonna look at it, man, when they decide to try to carry out, these agendas that they have, which is on these Georgia Guidestones when it comes to taking your ass out, okay? Because when you really think about it, as you can see, this is one of their biggest agendas, man. And that's to take as many of our asses out as they possibly can within a certain amount of time, okay? So with that being said, unless you're down with one of these high-class secret societies, yeah, it's best to start to prepare yourself for what these people have coming when they try to actually execute this NWO stuff, okay? That's why it's important that people need to start to come together now. We need to wake up and come together now because, like I said, the more of the masses that knows about these type of sinister plans they've been slick trying to hide for years, the harder it will be for these people to actually be able to try and play God and depopulate the earth, okay? Just for their damn benefit. You did? So with that, back to what I was saying. So with that being said, like I was saying, that's what I was saying to all you gang members, regardless of your fucking status, whenever these people decide to actually carry out this plan, none of that shit is not even gonna fucking matter anymore. What's gonna be important then is y'all asses coming together, because if you don't come together by the time these people actually decide to try to execute these plans, guess what? Either y'all asses gonna ride together or y'all gonna die together. Your choice. You dig? I'm telling you guys now. Okay? It's just that simple. Think about what I'm saying. Okay? So if you're one of the people that paid any attention to these jewels of knowledge that I just dropped on you, it should also let you know that when it comes to coming together, it's now or never. You dig? So with that being said, I just wanted to thank everybody who decided to stop and rock with that boy, Lamont, that way, Jones, this way. You dig? And may the Most High continue to bless you and all of your families while you're out on that paper chasing that rat race trying to provide for your family swimming with them sharks, okay? So till next time, people, make sure you guys stay tuned. If you like the video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, like, subscribe to the channel. And once again, if you dig or like the commentary that I came with in this video, then my email is at the bottom in the left-hand corner of your screen. And the reason I say that, if you guys have any type of topics that you guys would like me to speak on or clarify, just make sure you hit the email link down below in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, okay? So until then, once again, y'all, don't forget what I always say: knowledge is power, okay? Never forget that. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is worth more than any amount of money that anybody could offer. You dig? In other words, knowledge is priceless, y'all. So until next time, once again, stay tuned. Till next time, y'all, peace. Peace out.